My name is Everett Mosher. I love camping. It makes me feel very free. I'm a lifelong downhill skier. After my injury, one of my goals was to get back into doing something outdoors. I go to a park that's very flat and open, and it's on the ocean. And just being able to go in my chair down to the beach and just experience the feeling of the air around the salt water. And it makes me feel alive. We all enjoyed the outdoors. I rode motorcycles with my son. Life was pretty much like any other American family. And then I lost my wife 6 months before my injury. And of course, that was a dramatic change. And then when I acquired my injury, which was in a motorcycle accident, it was very devastating for my family. So it's been a long road for me, but it's also been a long road for them. My adult children have gone through it with me. I almost at times think it was harder on them than it was on myself. About 4 years ago, my son and I had been out on a long motorcycle ride, and my son says it was one of the best days and one of the worst days of his life. We were about 3 miles from my house, and there wasn't a car on the road. I was going around a long curve, about 30 miles an hour, and the front tire on my bike just went directly sideways. All of a sudden, I guess the bike rolled over multiple times, and I landed on the curb. I didn't have any external injury. One of my vertebrae was shattered. I certainly don't regret riding a motorcycle, riding dirt bikes together, riding scooters. All of that made us the people that we are. I'm a technology manager for an interstate pipeline. And when I first came home from rehab, I went back to work after 2 months. And it was a struggle at first because I was very fatigued all the time. I was having a side effect from one of my medications. And that took up a lot of time because I wasn't driving yet. And so I had to take a disability transport. So I would recommend if you don't feel like you need to go back that soon to work, I would advise holding off for a while longer. One of the best things I think that I ever did was join a spinal cord support group. My support group, I just love. Everyone is very active, very positive. We rarely talk about our injuries. Usually there's more goofing around than anything, but I would encourage anyone, to get involved with a support group, because the best instruction you can get is from your peers. I have no anxiety over not walking, but what I'm looking forward to is, number one, volunteering, not only peer mentoring, but also talking with hospital staff about how to care for someone who's paralyzed. And also I'm looking forward to grandchildren. And I always told my son I wanted to teach my grandchildren how to ski. But now I'm looking at things like camping. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm very confident I can ride a quad. And then getting involved in other sports. One thing I've tried is the indoor adaptive rock climbing. I've set a goal every year to try something new. I had been traveling with my daughter and her fiance. We went to a family wedding in D.C. And so after that experience, one thing I wanted to try was traveling on my own. I was going to a bridal shower. It was one of my son's army buddies. I was determined to make this trip on my own And so I drove out of state, rented a hotel room. I didn't need my commode. I just brought a raised toilet seat. I carried in all of my bags, and I had to make a couple of trips, but I brought it all in. I set up my room, spent the night. I was so proud of myself. And then I even went down for breakfast in the morning and met a bunch of people from out of state. I met these two wonderful ladies from Rhode Island that made me feel so free, just to be traveling on my own. And in general, I found people to be very friendly. So then I graduated from that to going on my first camping weekend. I took a 3-day weekend. I didn't go alone, though. I went with my daughter and her fiance. So I ended up getting a Mini Cooper that I could transfer from my wheelchair into the back of. I got a tent that went on the back of it, and I packed all of my own gear, went out there, and I met my daughter where we were camping, but she didn't arrive until 2 hours after. The tent was all set up and hooked to the car, and they said, "How did you do all that?" And I said, well, I had some help, because as I got there, I pulled the tent out, I laid it all out on the ground, and these two young guys came over and asked if they could help me. So I thought, I'm going to graciously accept this. So what I did was I sat and read the instructions, and they set it all up for me. And we ended up having a great time together, telling stories. And, it was just so nice meeting new people and then feeling like I had something to contribute. I think life is going to be whatever you put into it, whether you're in a wheelchair or not. I think people who aren't in wheelchairs go through as many struggles. Go out and meet as many people as you can, because they impact your life, but you have a profound impact on theirs. All I can say is do it.